everyone. I'm Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. What is going on? An awful lot in my world since we spoke last. I am in my cute little Irish apartment or room at the moment. It's been a crazy couple days. Jet lagged as can be. I have no idea what time it is, but I'm recording this Irish time right around Friday at noon, and then I'm heading over to the pub to do shows all afternoon. And I will tell you, the environment over here is remarkable. I mean, travel was tough. I mean, all the adapting your body to the time and all that stuff has been tough, but I knew that was part of the course. But man, Steeler Nation, even early in this process, like I said, I haven't been over there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I assume it's just going to ramp up. But Thursday was bonkers with Steeler fans and just a lot of fun. All right, let's talk to some keys of the game here, starting when the Steelers have the ball. A massive one to me, I call it Rodgers versus Flores. But Rodgers is the part that worries me least when dealing with Flores. I mean, Flores is a mad scientist. I mean, most unorthodox defensive coordinator in the league. Frankly, I don't know how the Steelers let him walk out the door. But he will throw everything at you, and game planning for him must be remarkably difficult. I think Rodgers handles it fine, though, or well enough, or better than any quarterback probably should or would. But what about the other 10? I just hope that it's not a lot of Rodgers chewing dudes out, palms in the air, why'd you run that route, blah, 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 when he's understanding the coverages and the different blitz schemes. They do play a lot of zone, but the people around Rodgers aren't adapting. To me, that's my fear. And I'd be shocked if we don't see at least some of that. Van Ginkel and Greenard, the defensive ends for the Vikings. And Van Ginkel will do a lot of different stuff. I think that's a real solid matchup for the Steelers tackles, Jones and Fautanu. Jones has been better. I can't say I trust him a ton. I would think that Flores will try to put him in conflict, make him decide a lot. Should I block this guy? Should I block that guy? Is there a stunt coming my way? Is there a twist coming my way? And Fautanu's just not that experienced either. I love him. I think he's going to be a really good player, but that to me is definitely a key to this game. Warren versus their linebackers versus their run defense as a whole. Do we expect Warren to get a huge workload again? I think the answer is yes. I think they're going to try to run the ball. I don't know how effective they'll be. Pace, their linebackers, their best player on the second level. But if there's a weakness to defense, I don't think the safeties, well, particularly the linebackers, are average. I mean, they're average. They ask them to do a lot of things. One thing I think that has to happen, but I thought this against New England, more downfield passing, more intermediate passing. Now, it's been effective. Rodgers has made the most out of what he's had to work with in terms of protection and guys getting open down the field, which hasn't been great. But I would love to see more shots down the field. And I guess I'm going to keep saying that every week. But, man, you got DK Metcalf. You have Calvin Austin. Now, I don't expect it to be Wilson, Russell Wilson, pull out the chipper or putter or the driver. I mean, you don't have to be that extreme, but you saw this offense have success downfield last year. I think you could still replicate a lot of that. More production overall to me from Metcalf, but also the entire tight end room. I mentioned that the middle of the field could be sort of vulnerable. I like the Vikings corners. Isaiah Rodgers went insane last week. Just wanted to mention that. I mean, I'm sure he won't go that bonkers in terms of production. But I don't see a great corner to eliminate Metcalf. I don't see the middle of the field matchups being something you should avoid. And frankly, you just need more production on the stat sheet from Metcalf and the tight ends. It's been lackluster. So that's my offensive keys. Let's get back here in a minute to the defense.
Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials. so you can join in on all the action.
If you guys ever had to hire someone, you know it can be so time consuming. Sifting through tons of resumes, trying to get in touch with every candidate. Well, not anymore. Because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features speed up finding the right people so you can save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Over 320 new resumes are added every month, guys. And if you see candidates you like, you can get their contact information right away. So use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/audio right now and try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase.
It's funny, so many of the Viking conversations I've had this week, it's taken a half hour into the conversation until we talk about Justin Jefferson. He's one of the best receivers that's ever lived. He's the best player in this game, including TJ Watt. He's a nightmare. And how do the Steelers limit him? They're not going to eliminate him. I would imagine Ramsey sees a lot of Jefferson, but that's harder to do now with Addison back in the mix. And Hawkinson really, stepped up last week as well. I think Wentz is a bit of a risk taker, probably favors these downfield guys. And I'm sure Minnesota's going to take shots. So don't let Jefferson go for 180. I mean, because he certainly can. And by his standards, he's been a little quiet this year, which maybe even scares me more. O'Neal and Darisaw are a really good pair of tackles that I would expect the Vikings to not help a ton against Watt and Herbig. Now, Watt will certainly get his share of attention, and I'm sure that they'll run left more often than run towards Watt. And their ball carrier is a really good player, by the way. Keep an eye on their running game in general. Might just gash the Steelers on outside runs. That's just another note, probably to the left. But their running game in general really worries me. But I wonder how much they ask O'Neal, and especially Darisaw, to hold up on their own. I'm sure Darisaw will get Herbig a lot, and Darisaw is awesome. But I think Herbig's pretty awesome too. Will they favor O'Neal a lot in long down and distance situations? Probably, but will they on 1st and 10 when they throw? I have some questions about that. I'm expecting Chuck Clark's role to diminish, Peppers to grow, but still, just the middle of the field pass defense. I mentioned that Hawkinson's getting ramped up. Jefferson certainly can go over the middle. Thielen's a really good slot player too. Middle of the field pass defense for the Steelers is I'm not a believer. There's still communication issues there. People are going to continue to attack that middle of the field through the air. I would think Harmon's role ramps up a little bit. Maybe he gets up to 45 snaps, something like that. He was good, not great. I know he had a sack and he's very active, and I'm a Harmon fan, but I don't think he's special. But I do think that he has made the dominoes kind of fall in line a lot better on the defensive line just by his presence alone and being a big physical guy that is super active. It makes Cam's life easier. I think that the defensive line is starting to fall into place. And I'm curious if they can exploit the interior of the Vikings O-line. There's some injuries there. We'll see how that looks. But overall, I think that's a big key as well. And a massive wild card to me, as I mentioned, I don't have a lot of faith in him, is Carson Wentz. I mean, where is he right now? I mean, I would rather play against McCarthy than Wentz. I'll put that out there. But neither one scares me. Wentz is not very mobile. He's not much of a playmaker at this point. He probably takes more risks than he should. But in this environment, it would not shock me at all, especially against the way the Steelers are playing defense right now in some regards, middle of the field, that Wentz looks quite good in this game. And that doesn't mean that he stinks. It's just this could be the best landing spot he's been in the last 5 years or so. And he does have ability. This was the second pick in the draft way back when. Let's not forget that. So I think he's a massive wild card. I don't fear him, but I also think, man, he could do enough. And I think that they will take a lot of their passing concepts up a notch that they just couldn't run with McCarthy because he's so inexperienced, that Wentz at least has that and will allow their head coach, who's really, really good, to open up the playbook entirely. Last thing, which is just kind of fun, is does this environment favor one team or another in Ireland? Now, I have to think it favors the Steelers in terms of crowd noise, a home field advantage. But I bet Vikings fans travel pretty well, too. I mean, they're one of the best fan bases out there. I have great respect for Vikings fans. Tomlin's more experienced, but the Vikings have never lost overseas as an organization. That there might be something to that. Are field conditions something? Like the kicking game, is it a little wonky over here? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but I think it's crazy to ignore that this is a strange game in a strange environment. Who handles that the best? I mentioned to start the show that my body clock is a disaster right now. Who's going to be more up to play? I mean, who's in better sleep space for this game in terms of the players and coaches, but especially the players? In the end, I don't have a great feeling for this game, but I am going to pick the Vikings to win 24-20. I just think that they're playing better fundamental football on both sides of the ball right now. I think that there's more things I can trust with how the Vikings are playing right now than the Steelers. But hey, a little luck of the Irish goes your way, or some things start to click, or the defense continues to make huge plays. I certainly do not rule out a Steeler victory at all. But I have not picked against Pittsburgh yet this year. I think Minnesota's a pretty good team. So, all right, everyone, I will assume I will be back in my room after the game at some point. I'm going to the game, and we'll record a post-game observation one for you, and then I'll be on a flight all day Monday, so I don't know what will happen from that point on. But then we go into a bye week, so it's a little bit of an odd week as well. So take care, everyone. Over and out.